My name is Mimi Brophy. I am Director of Sales and Marketing at the Residence at Pearl Street, along with my colleague Stacy Blakesley. We're an assisted living community located at 75 Pearl Street here in Reading. We have 84 apartments and 26 of those are dedicated to memory care. Joining me today is Yolanda Douglas. She is the Director of Reflections over at the Residence at Pearl Street, and she manages our memory care community. Welcome, Yolanda.
Thank you, Mimi.
So today we're going to be doing a presentation called A Walk in Their Shoes, A Dementia Experience. Yolanda, can you tell us a little bit about A Walk in Their Shoes, A Dementia Experience?
Sure, Mimi. So A Walk in Their Shoes is a dementia experience where I will compromise some of your senses to give you an idea of the reality in which our residents with dementia are living in.
Wonderful. Can you tell me, so who are some folks that would participate in the experiment?
Absolutely. So we put all of our staff through this experience so that they can really identify with the residents that they're working with. We encourage our families to go through this experience so that they can understand what their loved one is going through. We encourage the outside community to come in and experience this. And in fact, in June, on June 20th, that was the summer solstice. It's literally the longest day of the year.
Yes, yes.
And so the Alzheimer's Association uses that platform and calls it the longest day, and they use that to raise awareness for Alzheimer's. So we did a presentation where we had the community come in and local politicians, and we put them all through this experience. So really anyone can benefit from experiencing this.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I see you brought a box with you. Can
Yes.
you tell me a little bit about what's in the box?
Sure. So in the box are the tools of the experience, okay? I have some things here. I'm going to put something in your shoes to compromise your feet. I'm going to put something on your hands, in your ears, on your nose. These are all the tools to put you through this experience. So if you don't mind, I would love to experiment on you.
No, that's wonderful. I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
So what do I need to do?
Great. So these little pointy things, these are going to go in your shoes.
Okay.
And what these do is give you the sense of having arthritis in your feet. We have over 60% of people age 65 and older who experience some sort of arthritis.
Oh, wow.
So that's what that will do.
A little bit of an uncomfortable feeling
Yeah.
there. Okay, what do I need to do next?
All right. Next, I'm going to ask you to put on these gloves.
Having a little bit of trouble getting my shoe on. Give me just a moment
As
here.
would a resident.
Absolutely.
All right. So you put those on.
Okay. And what does this simulate?
So I'm going to bind a few of your fingers, and the gloves are big to give you the feeling of big, swollen, clumsy hands. I'm going to put some of your fingers, bind it together. These will also symbolize swollen arthritic fingers. It's going to limit your dexterity, as you'll see when we start working.
Okay.
Okay. Next, I am going to have you put on this nasal plug. That's going to decrease your oxygen intake.
Oh, okay.
So our brain is only 2% of our body's mass, but uses about 25% of our oxygen. When we're thinking really hard or concentrating really hard, as a resident with dementia is, to just try to focus through the course of their day, they can use up to 50% of their oxygen just doing that.
This is amazing because it gives you almost like a claustrophobic feeling a little bit.
Yeah. And so then I'm going to give you these glasses.
Okay.
These glasses have been painted over to simulate macular degeneration, which is when you can no longer see your peripheral vision. So our residents often experience what we call tunnel vision. So they're just seeing what's right directly in front of them.
Okay.
They often sometimes also experience where they're seeing a dot right in the middle of that pupil. So not only can they not see around themselves, but then they've got a dot in the middle too. So sometimes you'll see that you're talking to someone and they're kind of looking like you're looking around you. They're trying to see around that dot.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
these are going to give you that feeling. They're also foggy, as you can see,
wow.
because they're simulating the glaucoma as well. So we've compromised your vision in 3 different ways with those glasses. How you feeling?
Wow.
All right, last but not least, I'm going to have you put on these headphones.
Okay.
It's going to be some noise in there, okay?
Are they in front of me?
These residents often talk about experiencing chatter in their ears. They're always hearing a noise in their head, they say.
Okay.
People with dementia have said that. Here you go, in your hand.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to give you some chatter. You can go ahead and place those on your ears.
Okay.
Okay, before I start this, I'm going to ask you to stand up. I'm going to have you spin around a little bit to disorient you.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going to give you a few tasks to do, all right?
Sure.
And do you have a pocket? Can we put this in your pocket when it's playing
yes.
so that you can...
Here. Okay, I hear the chatter.
Ready?
Yes.
1, 2,
Okay.
1 more. All right, you can...
Oops. Are you able to help me here a little bit? There we go. Oh,
There
wow.
you go.
Okay.
You look like you're feeling disoriented already. All right. I'd like you to take this bag.
Okay.
I would like you to find for me the gold string and tie it in a knot. Find the book and turn to page 300. Find the 7 of Hearts card and give it to me. Find the watch and put it on my arm. And find the silverware at the table. So I've assigned so many tasks to her at once to show how with people with dementia, things need to be broken down into smaller tasks so they don't get overwhelmed. I spoke to her very quickly because when you're talking to someone with dementia, you really need to slow it down for them to be able to get what you're saying. She's having difficulty with the string because her fine motor skills are compromised. Good job. You can see her starting to become overwhelmed by the volume of stuff that she has here.
Okay to take everything out?
Sure.
Okay. It wasn't working my way. This is very frustrating because I can't remember really what you said. I couldn't hear you very well. I can't.
So I'll give her another cue. Find the cards and get the 7 of hearts.
Okay.
You can see the trouble that she's having with her vision.
I think I have it.
Well done. Good job.
Okay.
Find the watch and put it on me.
Find the what?
The watch.
Oh, I think I have it.
Do you remember any of your other steps?
I know I'm supposed to set a table, and that's it. I can't remember.
Could you get a book and turn to page 300?
Okay. Ah, there we go. 300?
Yep, you're doing good. This print is very small, which would be very challenging for a person with dementia. They would really need font that is at least 14 point.
I can't see a page.
That's okay. Okay. We're gonna stop, okay?
Okay.
Woo! How was the
Wow.
noise in your head?
It was very difficult to distinguish what was chatter, what was a directive, what was a conversation, and as it continued, I felt myself getting hot and overwhelmed and frustrated. It was very hard to focus on, again, what was just the chatter and what was actually someone speaking to me, in this case you.
Yeah, and we see that a lot of times with our residents with dementia, talking about always hearing that noise in their head. Sometimes you'll see that they're taking their hearing aids out because they're already hearing chatter. Then they add the hearing aid and they're able to pick up on the background noise going on around them. So what we can do to help them with that is speaking to them slowly, clearly, making sure that we're facing them, and that we use fewer words so that they have less to take in and more body language.
Okay.
You can communicate a lot to someone without saying anything at all.
Sure, that's true.
For example, you probably can't see me with your with your compromised eyes. Take off your glasses.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what could you see with those?
Wow.
You look like you just came out of the dark.
Wow. That was overwhelming. Really, I didn't see anything, like anything on the sides. My peripheral vision was totally gone,
Yeah.
and it was very hard to focus. And everything like you had described before, that fuzziness and that pinpoint. And that's what I believe I was looking at the book. I was trying to see, and it was the same thing. I was trying to see around it and figure out where I was on the page, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah. You'll notice that I have a lot of green items here, and the reason for that is because green is one of the last colors that people with dementia lose the ability to see. So that's why we have our staff in the green shirts. When
Yes.
we create reading books for our residents, you had a hard time. You couldn't find the page number in this. You couldn't even see that.
Right.
So when we create a book for them, we would make that story in 14-point font, and we would make the writing in green so that they can see it. And green also helps your eyes to track and naturally makes you move in the direction that you read in.
Wonderful.
See, now you can see my cue.
Now I can see your cue and I can breathe. It's overwhelming. As somebody that was a swimmer, I used to use a nose plug, but to be able to not take it off, that was a little bit scary for me. I got a little overwhelmed at one point, especially when I was becoming a little bit frustrated trying to find the items. And, you know, normally when we become frustrated, we tend to breathe a little bit heavier. So to not be able to get that oxygen in made it even worse.
That's one of those moments when we could be using up to 50% of our oxygen. You know, when people say that they get a headache because they're thinking too hard, that's true.
Sure.
And that's why that happens. And I could hear you as you were becoming more frustrated looking for things like that deep sea diver. You could hear you trying to suck in that extra oxygen through your mouth. You know, what we do to help our residents with that is we use our deep breathing techniques, which we learned through our collaboration with Harvard Medical and Brigham and Women's. And they, you know, taught us to have our residents practice deep breathing a minimum of twice a day. So we do this with them, and it's very simple. All you've got to do is take some deep breaths in, about 5 seconds, hold 5 seconds, release 5 seconds, and you would do that at least 3 times, 2 times a day. But what's interesting is the studies have shown that that oxygen stays with them a little bit longer, so it lasts them throughout the day. It's not just good for that minute or 5 minutes. You know, that improves their cognitive function, you know, half an hour later, 2 hours later. So we do this multiple times a day to help them sustain that. So let's take your hands apart now. This part was fun for me to watch because you tied your fingers in a knot. How did that feel, having your hands compromised?
Again, not being able to grasp a hold of something and not being able to fully be in control of what I was feeling and what I was picking up. And I think, as you saw, I was struggling trying to get that string and trying to bring that loop under. It was almost like when you first learn to tie your shoes and you're having that struggle and not being able to do it. And that's what I felt. And again, that frustration came in because I think we take for granted at this time it's such a simple task that if you ask me to tie something in a knot right now, I could do it without even thinking about it and still chatting with you. But at that time, all my focus had to go on that, and it was very difficult to. It was a very difficult task, even though, again, for most folks, we take it for granted, and we find it to be such a simple task.
I found that when I do this experiment with other people, this is the number 2 thing that they talk about. Number 1 is the chatter in their heads, and number 2 is having their fingers compromised like that, trying to tie that string into the knot. And they're seeing what they used to see with their loved one trying to do the simple task of tying their shoe and get frustrated. And then the aha moment comes on and they are able to see why that is so frustrating when your hands are that swollen like that. So when we're doing an activity like bingo or maybe an art thing or something that uses those really fine motor skills and makes you hold your hand like you did when you were holding the pencil, that's what we're doing there. It's not just to have the fun of playing bingo or something like that or working with something small, which is great, but you're actually sharpening those fine motor skills to help them, as well as our exercise classes help with that arthritis. You've got some stuff in your feet?
I do, and I was waiting for you to get there because that
Save
is
the most torturous part for last.
That is so uncomfortable, and wearing high heels can be uncomfortable, and having this in there,
Yeah.
it almost makes you, when you were spinning me around, yes, I had the glasses on and everything, but my feet weren't steady.
Yeah.
I felt it was painful, and not only that, it caused me to feel unsteady on
Yeah.
my feet.
Yeah.
And so, can you talk a little bit about
It's
that?
interesting when you put the staff through this, particularly. Sometimes we will use a room that we might have them pretend they're a resident functioning in their apartment and doing different tasks. So they're moving about more so than you were here. And when you see them, they're walking just like your residents are walking, with the unsteady gait. And as soon as they sit down, the first thing they want is, get this out of my foot. I cannot have any kind of quality with my feet feeling like this. But our residents can't escape that or anything else that they're going through. We work with this in a lot of ways. The staff might give someone massages in their feet and their legs to help get rid of that pins and needle feeling that you were probably feeling with those in there.
Yes, yes.
We might work with our PT and OT to strengthen their gait, their ability to walk, and how they do that. Wow, thank you for letting me put you through that.
It was amazing, and as somebody that, I work in the community with you, and seeing our residents on a daily basis, it's humbling. It's a very powerful, experiment, and you hit the nail on the head. The first thing people want to do is get that out of my shoes, or unlock my fingers, and our residents and those folks that have dementia and Alzheimer's, they can't escape that. So very, very powerful. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
With us today, and thank you everybody for joining us here. And for more information on the residents at Pearl Street, please call 781-944-9200. We're happy to schedule a tour. And what are the times again that folks can come in and experience the experiment?
So I typically do this the last Wednesday of every month during my support group, and we also offer it on the last Thursday of every month. But if those times don't work for people, they can certainly call you to schedule something.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.